All right, so today we're going to be learning about the distributive property. Can someone read our essential question? Christian.
How are multiplication and division related?
How are multiplication and division related? And our learning target says, I can explain the relationship between multiplication and division. So when you're doing multiplication, there's a couple of different strategies that you can use to solve a problem. So if I was to give you for our number talks, 16 times 15. Think of a strategy that you could use to solve that problem. Remember that you don't raise your hand for number talks. This means I'm still thinking, and this means I have an answer. Matthew, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking about using the area model.
Okay, you could use area model. What are you thinking?
You could use the distributive property.
Okay, distributive property, if you already know it. And what about you?
Standard algorithm.
Okay, so you do go there and do standard algorithm. You go do area model. Don't erase. Y'all can both write at the same time with your finger. And when we start the distributive, we'll let you. So you can just wait until we get to the next part. All right, so even though we're using 3 different strategies, should we all have the same answer?
Yes.
Okay, so that's how we'll know if it's correct or not. Is that 240 or 290? Okay, leave it. Now once you guys are done, you can go ahead and make your way back to your seat so we can talk about distributive property. Christian, you did good with standard algorithm. I'm not going to tell you whether the answer is correct or not though. You did good with distributive property. I'm not telling you whether the answer is correct or not yet though. And Matthew, you did good. All right, so in your notebook today, we're talking about distributive property. I already left a worksheet on your desk. You don't need it yet. Let's just take a couple of notes. So flip to the next blank page of your notebook. And let's talk about how to do distributive property. Ready? All right, so multiplying with the distributive property means you break down one number by tens and ones value to solve more difficult multiplication expressions. So 16 times 24 is the example we're working with. Nobody knows their 16s, nobody knows their 24s. So you're going to choose one of these numbers to break. It doesn't matter which one you break. So we're going to, like I'm going to say we're going to break the 16. If I break up the 16 by place value, what is the 1 worth and what is the 6 worth?
The 1 is worth 10 and the 6 is worth 6.
Okay, so this is like a 10 and a 6 times 24. So when I get ready to write it with the distributive property, I would say 24 times 10 plus 24 times 6, which is the same thing as 24 times 16. But now these numbers are easier for me to work with. So copy this. You should write distributive property at the top and then copy the purple. I could have also broken the 24. It doesn't matter which one you break. Alright, stop once you have what I have. Alright, so I broke this 16, instead of saying 24 times 16, I said 24 times this part is 16 and 24 times this part is 16. And then I'm going to add it together. So to figure out what 24 times 10 is, I could just multiply the basic factor and add the 0. So 24 times 1 is what? 24, and then there's a 0. So that's 240. And then 24 times 6, I don't know, but I'm going to use standard algorithm. 6 times 4 is?
24.
6 times 2?
12.
Plus 2?
14.
Okay. So 24 times 6 is 144. And then I need to add them together to figure out what the answer was. 240 plus 144 is 384.
Which is faster, distributive property or standard algorithm?
It depends. Standard algorithm is usually always quicker. But quickness is not what you need to be focused on if it's a test like the milestones or even on your homework. So you don't want to know which one's quicker, you want to know which one you're strongest with. So if you're strongest with standard algorithm, then that's good. But area model takes forever, but if you're strong with that, then that's the one you should use. All right, number 1 on your paper, you guys are going to try solo. Actually, I'll talk you through number 1 and then you're going to try number 2 solo. So number 1 says 19 times 19, right? So obviously we're going to break a 19 because they're both 19. So we break the 19, Matthew, what can we break the 19 into?
We can break the 19 into 10 and 9.
10 and 9. So do 19 times 10 in parentheses and 19 times 9. Okay, 19 times 10 is easy because all I do is multiply the basic factor and then add the 0. So 19 times 10 is what, Nathan?
19 times 10 equals 190.
190. And then 19 times 9, we probably have to use standard algorithm to figure out. 9 times 9 is?